welcome to Life After the D web show. I am Coach April Elle. I am so excited to have you all here with our special guest today, Tamara Glover.
Hi.
Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you?
Wonderful. I'm so excited to have you here today.
I
So,
am so thankful to be here. I am.
so before we get started, I just want to let everyone know that I am a trained life coach, and it is my passion and my mission to help women restart their lives post-divorce. So I help you after the divorce is final. Um, and I created this show to show women that there is life after divorce. We all have a story, but our stories don't end after our divorce. So today, again, I want to welcome Tammy. I know her as Tammy. I want to welcome Tammy to the show. And Tammy, I want you just to introduce yourself to our audience today. Tell us who you are, what you do, what your family dynamic is. Just tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tamara Glover, as April already said. I'm a 41 female mother of actually 3 kids. I have a bonus son. I am in law enforcement, have been for the last 18 years. I am a wife as well. Um, and really, everything about me is I'm a social butterfly. I love people. I love going out. I love sports. I'm just that all around female that likes to do entertaining things, and especially with my family.
Mhm. And you have the bomb Super Bowl parties.
Oh, thank you very much. I love football. Got that trait from my dad, of course.
All
I'm a 49er fan, for
49.
those that didn't know.
Don't have a team, but I kind of feel like I need to get one at some point.
You probably do.
That's some point.
It's a, I'll tell you this when we get more into it. It's a great bonding, especially with males when females know a little bit about sports too.
Drop nuggets for us. Awesome. So Tammy, share with us a little bit of your story, because I do want you to eventually tell us about your new boo.
Right.
But tell us about your story. Give us some background.
Okay. So I have been married. I'm on my second marriage, which is the right marriage, of course. But I was married before, and of course, I've been divorced. And a little bit about my story is I married young. I would consider 25 young. I married young, had my son. We have a son together. So I'm trying to describe to you, I never thought about divorce. It's never been in my mind to get a divorce. I've always thought that I should work it out. If you're having problems, um, it's the right thing to do. I have a child. I don't want to be divorced. I want to be with my child's father. That's the first thing in my mind. So I didn't think about divorce because I felt like I should fight to make my marriage work. I will tell you, getting divorced from my first marriage was the best decision I've ever made in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of women won't understand when I say the best decision. And I'll get to that, why it was the best decision for me. But I'm not going to sit up here and just put the blame game, because I had some fault in um, my marriage failing as well. But it's things that I decided I wasn't going to accept in the marriage. I'm not going to accept you staying out all night and you have a family home. I'm not going to accept you're cheating and you come to me apologizing over and over again and it's okay. I'm not going to accept you putting your hands on me verbally, physically. Those are some things I'm not going to accept. But I did accept it because it didn't happen right away. I didn't just leave right away like a lot of people should. Um, my marriage was, how should I put it? I was ready for marriage, and I don't think he was. Because with marriage, it comes a lot of responsibility. Um, Paying bills on time, I get that from my dad. It's something that I think should happen. It's certain responsibility I think a man should have, and I think it's a responsibility that a woman should have. Now, in my first marriage, of course, I probably, one of my things that I looked at that was wrong was I wanted him to be like my dad.
Mm.
I'm that child that had a father in her life, grew up, both of my parents, they're still married till this day. So I looked at that he should do the things my dad did. My dad mopped the floor. I feel like the man should mop the floor. I wash dishes, my mom cooked. That's my responsibility. They both work, but as far as taking care of household, I felt that's what he should have done. And I think that was a lot of pressure for me to expect that and not talk about that before we got married.
Mm-hmm.
So I blame myself for not having that conversation because all we see is the glitz and the glamour. Oh, I love him. He loves me. We about to do this, you know. But to be honest with you, my mom was like, he's not the one for you. Yeah, I had a wedding. I did all of that. But she still told me he's not the one. And I'm a strong minded person. So I'm not gonna let you just do anything and walk over me.
Right.
Okay. So that's why I say I had my own faults. And I probably had some more faults. Getting into the marriage part, for instance, I knew that he cheated on me. And I was like, man, I love this man. But I came with one thing that I remember telling him. If you do it again, it's going to hurt when I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Two wrongs do not make a right. People, two wrongs do not make a right. Don't do it. It makes it worse.
Right. Right.
He cheated again. And guess what I did? I found someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ashamed to say it while I was still married. And I did certain things that was out of character, meaning I did things to hurt him just like I felt hurt. I mean, I remember times when he'll come home, he'll give, let's say the house note is $800. He giving me $400, you know, or I married a man that already had children prior to me. So that's why I say it's certain things that I accepted. I had no kids. He had three prior to me. And of course I accept the kids as my own. But it can put stress on you too. Because they'll be with me and where is he? He's out in the street, gambling, doing whatever else, not taking care of home. And I do feel like a husband should take care of home, you know. I feel like a wife should take care of home, you know. I just feel like we were not on the same page until it became where we were fighting. And one of the things I'm going to tell I'm going to tell people, which are couples, if you're having problems in your marriage, try to work it out. I would never preach divorce, but I would say try to work it out, try counseling. But when you start telling family members or friends, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
It does. It really does. Because now you put more stress of what if you get back with him and y'all work it out and now your best friend can't stand him because of what he's done.
Right.
See, they're not going to be easily to forgive. And that's another thing that I did that was wrong in the marriage. I told my cousin, oh my goodness, he couldn't stand the ground that boy walked on. And I'm talking about, and I stayed in the marriage for a while. I didn't just say up and bye until I was really through. And
Right.
there's life after that. Um, and then it became physical,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
fighting. Now, mind you, I'm a fighter,
Mm-hmm.
but he's also a man. And then when the breaking point for me on my divorce is when he pulled out a gun and said, I will kill you and him, meaning our son.
Right.
That was it. For
Right.
me, it was.
Right.
I just I just couldn't take losing my son for something that I should have already done, which is leave this toxic relationship, because that's what it was. It was a toxic relationship. It got to that point. We were fighting each other. I'll do things that he didn't like. He did things that I didn't like. Arguments. It was bad. It was bad. I'm talking about where I was depressed, um, not happy, until I finally broke down and told my parents to help me get out this situation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know that you said you made that decision, and of course, um, I'm not the spokesperson or the face of divorce. That's not our mission. Um, but and it took me a while too. It took me a while to accept that my marriage was over, and it took me a while to get out of the divorce. Um, and we could definitely say if someone is watching and they're in an abusive relationship, that's the one time that I would say to someone, you need to get out. You know,
Yeah, you need to get out.
yeah, when there's physical altercations and those type things, of course that's the time to go. So I do commend you for making that decision to leave and
Oh
stay
yeah,
until something horrible happened and we wouldn't have had you.
yeah. Because I actually joined law enforcement because of him.
Wow.
I did. I realized I had to protect myself and my son.
Yeah.
So if I needed to, I know what's just cause and the law and what I can do, this, that, whatever. I mean, we've had police reports
Yeah.
filed and stuff like that. But I will also tell you, a lot of people might say, well, Tammy, I've never been physically abused. But sometimes you could be mentally abused. And that's just, that hurts too. I mean, it's pretty bad when you got somebody that you think love you, putting you down constantly, or you're not good enough, or they're giving a justification or a reason for why they're doing certain things or what you're not bringing to the table. It's time to go. But it's joy after it's joy. You just got to trust me, it's joy. And then we'll get to that. It's definitely joy.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it seems bittersweet, but it was the best thing for me and my family. I think it was the best thing for my son. And he probably couldn't see that at the time because he was very young. But the older he got, of course, I know for a fact, not pretty sure, I know for a fact he was like, well, why my daddy not with us?
Hmm. Hmm.
You know.
And
So
speak to that a little bit because, like we were talking about in our pre-interview, I do coach a lot of women, and sometimes, a lot of times actually, I get the co-parenting question, and that is something that I can only speak to as far as training wise goes, but someone who's been through it, coming from someone who currently co-parents with your son's father, speak to that point of life after divorce.
okay, so life after divorce wasn't. I didn't just be with my husband yet, right? So my husband now, um, I dated. So I didn't just go right into dating. I probably worked a lot. I got into focus more at work and everything like that. I had a great family support dynamic, meaning my aunt kept my son, or my mom before her stroke, she was hands on. My parents are hands on. So I had that big support. I'm thankful that I only had one child versus how many people we having two and three at the time. So that's the first thing. Like, oh, what I'm gonna do? I think a lot of people after divorce are embarrassed
Mhm.
of why, or shame. There's no reason to be shamed. Um, I'm not. A lot of people are prideful too, so they don't want to talk about it. They really don't want people to know, but it happens. It happens for whatever reasons. It happens. So after the divorce, of course, my ex-husband and I didn't get along for years. We're not best of friends now, but we didn't get along for years, and I hated him, and I'm pretty sure he hated me. And hate is a harsh word, but that's just what I felt at the time. I started going to church more, asking God to shine some type of light on my heart for me feeling this type of way, because I feel like because me and you not together, there's no reason for you to abandon our son. And that's what happened. Okay. So now you got me being a single mom, raising this boy. And I'm doing everything. Now, thank Lord, I'm a tomboy. So I'm doing everything in my power. And then I have some cousins and, like I said, my dad and uncles to help me. But at the end of the day, I'm still a single parent. It's me in the household. And I'm talking about, I'm fighting for get child support. I'm fighting to get him to spend some time with him, because I still wouldn't take that away from him. At the end of the day, it's still your child. I don't feel like he will hurt his child anymore because he's not with me. He still have other siblings from my ex-husband's previous relationship, so that my son needed to know. My son paternal grandparents, it when the dynamics, when y'all separate, it is what it is. The mom is with the child is, if the child is with the mother, they're with the maternal grandparents more so than the paternal grandparents. And that caused chaos and stuff like that, because my parents look at me as I'm right. His parents probably look at him like he right, trying to not take sides, but you do take sides. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it just happens that way. So I dated. I started, eventually dating again. I've had, guy friends, and I wouldn't bring everybody around my child because I didn't know how it worked out. I had him in little league stuff. Dad didn't come to little league stuff. So my son got older. And then, of course, after the dating, I ran into a guy I dated in high school. And the guy I dated in high school, we exchanged numbers. It's almost like a fairy tale, because we dated in high school. We both went to summer school. Right. And we started talking. And I tell you what, when you've been divorced and now you start talking to yourself. So first of all, let me tell you this. I started seeking, I feel like I'm a good catch, right? So I started putting standards, should I say, on what I want and what I expect.
Right.
And I know people are like, well, you don't always, well, that's what I did. Right. Meaning, I'm not dating nobody with 2 or more children anymore. Not doing it. If you have 2 or more kids, I'm not doing it. Now, I'm not telling you that's what might work for you. I'm telling you what worked for me. So really, because I had one, so really, and I knew it was a far-fetched for anybody to have no kids. I think they're there, but at my age, at that time, I was like, I know somebody got a child, but I didn't want no newborn. I didn't want you to have no 8-week baby. And, I'm not doing that. So I put standards, if that makes sense to you. And I didn't look, but like if I came up and I met a guy and the conversation will go something like, well, how many kids you have? And he'll be like, oh, I have 1. I'll be like, oh, really? How old? Mm-hmm. And he'll be like 10. I'll be like, oh, okay. Now, you might, okay, that 10, right. Right.
Yeah.
So and it was funny because after the divorce and after I went to counseling for myself and and get myself into work, the guys that I started dating before my husband now, the guys I was dating, they only had one kid. That's what makes it so crazy. So I know they out there.
Yeah.
So it's so amazing to me if I would just take my time and not jump on the first thing smoking because somebody wants you and this, that, whatever.
Yes. And let me,
You will realize.
yeah, let me stop you there because I do want you to get into I do want you to tell us about, Mike, because I know,
Cool,
yeah, and that too. But you said something that stuck out to me. Two things, actually. One, you said you set your standards. And I wanted to pause there because, like you said, a lot of women, a lot of us, I did too, come out of divorce and our self esteem and our confidence is at an all time low. A lot of
Yes.
us feel like guilt, shame, and embarrassment, and we carry it like we have the scarlet D on our chest. So when you said that, I'm like, right. I want you to speak to that for a second. How did you feel post divorce? Did you come up with it, or did you eventually get to that point where I'm like, okay, my confidence is here, my esteem is high? Like, how did you get there after divorce? And you also said that you sought counseling.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, so when I sought counseling because I didn't want to be one of the people. Is it me? Is it me? And because he was always blaming me.
Right.
It really is it me? Because to me, once I got married and now we had a child. My whole life, some people don't change, but to me, my whole life changed. It's not about me no more.
Mhm.
It's not about you. I have someone else that I have to live for.
Right.
So all of that dynamics for me changed. Meaning some girls might still go party and club. Not me. I just changed. I'm not saying I didn't go out and have fun occasionally, but that wasn't my priority. I joined the military. It's just certain things for me because I wanted a better life for my son. Not saying I had a bad life, but I wanted a better life. You know what I'm saying? Where I didn't have to worry about certain things. So when I got out of my divorce, I said I wanted to seek a counselor because number one, I just thought I failed my marriage. My marriage failed. I've I've never been. I don't ever think I had low self esteem as far as my look. I had low self esteem as far as the marriage or not working it out. Was there something else I could have done different? Was it something else I should have said different? That's why I sought counseling. And then when I talked to the counselor, what was so funny was the counselor was like, "You don't have to settle." And when she told me that, I was like, "You're right. Why am I settling?"
Yeah.
But now I feel like I got this little boy. What Gerald was 3, 4 years old, something like that. Why should I settle? And mind you, problems were before then. So I stayed married,
Right.
but we wasn't married, if
Right.
that makes sense to you. Um, I just
Paper.
why yeah, paper wise, I was married, but I wasn't married. Because you was doing your own thing, and then I ended up doing my own thing. And then I remember the counselor telling me, well, if you're settling, if you when you settle for him, was he the only thing? No, he wasn't the only thing. But this is what I thought at the time. This is what I thought um, a marriage should be. I think that people in a marriage, you fight for what you want. You work it out. You try to stick it in there. But there's certain things I won't stick it in. And I just remember her telling me you don't have to settle. And so give yourself some standards. If you don't like a guy that smoke, would you date a guy that smokes? I don't like a guy that smokes. So if you smoke a cigarette, weed, or anything like that, that's not what I'm not gonna date you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not.
Right.
Um, and this is because I got older and I have a child to look. look after. You know what I'm saying? Certain things I don't want. If you wear your pants saggy, I don't want you.
Right.
Those are, when I say setting standards, these are certain things I want, because I'm pretty sure men set standards too.
Yeah.
You know, so I felt like that was what I should do, and that's what I did. I mean, and it actually worked out in my favor, setting those type of standards. I had guys that try to talk to me, and I'm just like, no. I think I didn't have as much low self esteem because of my family and everybody having the support that I had, and that don't stop a guy talking to you. Shoot, they talk to married women, and they know the people are married. I just feel like I need to get myself right, make sure everything is on track with my son.
Right.
And then I started dating.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that much low self-esteem, but I told myself I've always wanted to be married. I've always looked at, when we grew up, I want this big old house with a white picket fence. I always wanted 2 kids. I wanted to just be happily ever after. And it just doesn't work that way. But
Eventually.
eventually it does. To
Yeah.
me it does. And
Yeah.
I eventually believe that you can get that, but you have to be on the same page with that partner, and your partner has to be on the same page.
Right.
And that's when we'll move forward and talking about the co-parent and my life after that, because now that I set those standards for myself, I was like, and I mean, the guys prior to my husband were to the table, bringing same things to the table. It's just certain things about them that I might didn't like, or I had one guy, his son was old enough, but he's still the baby mama or the child's mother.
Yeah.
I could tell she still liked them, so I don't know what he said. You could just tell certain things
Yeah.
um, that were there. So why those relationships didn't work out.
Right.
So,
Right. So, and that's a great thing that your self-esteem didn't take as huge of a hit.
yeah.
And I think that it's a really, really amazing thing that you decided and made up in your mind that I'm going to set these standards for myself. And I'm going to take a little bit of time to kind of get myself together because I want a better mind. I want a better life. So
Yeah.
I think it's really important for our viewers to note that right after divorce, you kind of have to shift your mind a little bit, and taking
Yeah.
heal is so important. So that
You definitely have to heal. Mhm.
led you to counseling. It led you to, having your standards and your confidence being up, and creating a better life. And like we said, eventually you did get that life. So life
Right.
indeed doesn't mean that you can't have that marriage that you want. You can't have, the 2 children and the big house with the white picket fence. So you did get your eventually, and
Yeah. I
I
prayed too. I don't want to take that out of nowhere.
yes.
Pray.
Mhm.
You need to start. I tell people also, I want to mention this is everybody ask God for um how should I put it? Some people only pray to God when they want certain things. I think you should pray to God all the time. And the
Yes.
reason I'm saying that, I'm not saying you got to go to church. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying you need to, when you're having your good times, when you're up, pray to God. When you're down, pray to God. Because He really will direct you. And certain things, I didn't believe it at first. And like I said, I still need, I'm still trying to get myself right.
Mhm.
But I feel like God see me moving in the direction that I want to move in, as far as especially with my family dynamics, and that has kept this marriage the way it is, because it's certain things that I did before I don't even do in this marriage.
Right. Right.
And so, but I want to just make sure you put that in there. Make sure you ladies, uh, you don't have to go to a counselor. You can go, talk to your pastor, or you can go talk to an evangelist or somebody that you feel close to if you don't want to actually talk to a counselor. I just feel like the counselor that I talked to helped guide me to see what was really already there. And maybe that was God speaking to me saying, you need to do this to understand there's life after this divorce. You don't need to be down in the dump. Because I felt down in the dump because of the divorce, just the D word.
Right.
I didn't feel down in the dump about myself or because I felt like I knew what type of person I was, but I didn't want, nobody wants a failed relationship. Nobody wants a failed marriage.
Right.
So if you set standards, you don't have to be like, oh, he got to have $5 million in the bank or da, da, da. That's not the standards I'm saying. I'm saying set some realistic goals, realistic standards for yourself, you know, and be able to compromise.
Yeah.
Compromise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't be so selfish. You got to be able to compromise.
Right.
Oh, ladies, compromise. Men, compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean?
Some things just not worth arguing about. Some things just not worth like. So if we getting into my marriage now, my husband may say, I'm trying to think of certain things that he would say. He may ask me a question. It could be something that could really just stir up an argument. And I'm like, is it really worth it? Oh yeah, babe, you right. Sometimes I'll just like, yeah, you right.
Uh-huh.
Just being a little more passive than I would have been in my first marriage. It's always an argument, always attack, always attacking. Meaning I'm attacking, he attacking. No. Know your spouse. No, like my husband has OCD now. I know this about him. It's so funny because I mean, when I say OCD, he has OCD. So we around the house, hey guys, Mike coming home, let's get it together. You know, like it's just certain things that I know he probably will argue about or fuss about. Why? I compromise. Let me make sure this is right here intact. Or Sunday meals is so important to my husband now.
Yeah.
He wants a Sunday meal.
Yeah.
He take care of home. Why wouldn't I have a Sunday meal for him?
Right.
I mean,
When to hold, when to fold, you have to, you know,
yeah,
because marriage is a partnership. You
it
know,
is.
it's not a I'm gonna do my thing, you do your thing. No, we in this together team. So, you know, where you may be strong in one area and he may be weak, you got each other's back and vice versa. So
Right.
I think that, you know, coming from that standpoint of compromise, I think that that should be done in a healthy marriage and in a healthy relationship. So we know that Mike makes your heart smile.
He does.
And I love the love of Tammy and Mike. It's like, so I definitely wanted to have it because I wanted to show women that after divorce, it doesn't mean that you have to stay in a low place, or if you desire to be married again, it is possible.
Oh yes.
Tell me what divorce taught you, the last divorce taught you, and that's your last divorce. We're not even claiming anymore.
Right.
Tell me what divorce taught you that, like you just gave an example, helps you sustain today. What lessons you learned?
So patience the last marriage has taught me patience. No, I'm sorry. From what happened in my first marriage, in this marriage, I bring patience, compromise. I kind of, before Mike and I got married, I wanted to know his goals and desires because I wanted him to know mine as well. So I didn't want to go in a relationship not knowing. And I think that's what happened in the first marriage. Not knowing, not expectations. But my husband is totally opposite of what I had in the first marriage, which is great to me. So I wanted somebody more ideal, we're alike, but we're not alike. Okay. So like where he's strong at, I'm kind of strong in certain parts, but I might make myself a little weak. Just because he is the man and he has shown me that this is what. So you remember before I said I wanted my first marriage to be like, I felt like he should be like my dad. Okay, so I got that now. I truly I got that. Like he's a caregiver. He takes care of us.
Right.
And when he came into his marriage, he knew that I had a child. He's also now, hello. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So what makes our dynamics a little great for me is I have a bonus son and he got a bonus son.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband was married previous as well. But we dated in high school, so we knew a little bit about each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what ticks my husband off, and that's because number one, of course, we're married and we've been around each other, and now we've been married now for 8 years. We dated for 10. Um, I know what also makes him comfortable, what I need to do to make him feel okay as this is our home. You know what I'm saying? Because he's the breadwinner and he's take care of the home. And that's all I always wanted a person to do. And I'm not talking about financially, because a lot of people like, oh, he paid it. No, not just financially. He takes care of home, the spiritual part, my mental being, checking up on me. Like I was really my self-esteem got down when I married him as well by my weight. But he didn't just he stayed on me because he's an in shape person, but he was like, come on, you can do this. I know it. So he motivated me.
Mm-hmm.
So all these things helped in the marriage. I got a motivator. I got someone who loves God. I got somebody who's willing to compromise. He's also, we call him Sergeant Glove around here because he's a dictator. He likes sport. So it's like all these things, and he's a great father. So when I got with him, I looked at how he was with his son. And mind you, his son doesn't live here. So, you got you so used to seeing people being deadbeats, and then you got this guy who's flying his son here, staying for the whole summer, getting them on Christmas break, doing whatever he can, FaceTiming him, making sure this, that, right, as much as he can do, because his son live all the way in Texas. You know what I'm saying? Doing what he can do for what resources he has. That's what probably sealed the deal a lot with me. How he interacted with my son. He don't let my son get away with anything. He hard on him, but he's teaching him to be a man, because you got to understand, for so long I've been a single parent. My son is a mama's boy, been up under me, things that I wouldn't even think of. And it's been hard. I'm never telling y'all it's been easy. The first 5 years of a marriage is so rough. The first 5 years. Why is rough? Because I would say I spoil my son, so I feel like sometimes he might be too hard on him. But really, I know it's really called tough love. He's trying to teach him to be a man, so therefore he won't be staying at mama house until he's 30.
Right.
Because that's not gonna happen here. It's just certain things that me and him agree with. I learned from my first marriage. I My husband know. I mean, if my husband was to stay out, first of all, I got a totally opposite type person. He's not a gambler. He's not he's really into family. He has a big family, so that's who he hangs around majority of the time. It's just a totally different dynamics on certain things that's important to him. And that's what I really love about him. And does he remind me of my dad? Yeah, he does. He reminds me of my dad. I mean, he just does. It's certain things that he do. He fusses like my dad when some things ain't right, but it's okay. He's never put his hands on me, never will. He's just he loves me for me.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to go out seeking no one else. And as long as I keep up myself in the spontaneity, is that the right word? Spontaneity, yeah, in our marriage, and making sure that I do my part, because I feel like everybody has a part. I think that it will work out. even with co-parenting. Now we do have a child together as well. And just the dynamics of him being home, coming home from work, and how our daughter reacts.
Yeah.
It's just certain things, or how he go up in her room and spend time with her, or how it's just him and her watching whatever on the show. He'll download whatever for the little girl. I mean, she spoiled rotten. It's just, he's there. He's not a part-time dad. And so it's certain expectations. Now, mind you, when we first started, when we were dating, he asked me these things.
Yeah.
He, you know what I'm saying? Because he wanted to know what type of woman I was, because this ain't high school no more. So he wanted to know what type of woman
He was getting.
I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it just ended up being, it's just ended up being really perfect. We have our ups and downs, but and the good and the bad, but the good way outweighs the bad all day.
Awesome.
All day. All day.
Amazing. You know, I love Mike's love. It gives me so much.
Yeah.
I do desire. And so, Tammy, for you, life after the D, you actually found love.
I did.
So we're going to wrap up the show. I think you gave us so much today, and I'm so grateful for that. But before we do, if you had to look into this camera and speak to someone who just signed the papers, they are totally devastated, uncertain about what's going to happen post this divorce, what would you tell that person who's right now hurting, feeling all kinds of ways, say to that person about life after the divorce?
Well, of course, I will be telling you it's going to be all right, but it might not be all right for the first 3-6 months. I can't put a time on it. But what I will tell you is to pray, ask God to show you guidance, take care of yourself first. And taking care of yourself first means pamper yourself, read, understand yourself, meaning understand your wants and your desires, your needs, and then go from there. Write it down. Make a journal. I would tell anyone that's just going through a divorce, I know it can be hard, but there's always another side to it. A side that might be better for you, better for your ex-spouse, because you don't want to be in anything toxic. And once you realize that and get a clear understanding that maybe this wasn't the person for you, and it's okay that it's not the person for you, you don't have to be with someone to be happy is number one. And that's what a lot of people think. You don't have to be with someone. Because I was happy before I got with my husband. He just made it even better. You know, he just brightened it up and brought me, you know, more things, how should I say, things that I wasn't even aware that I had, or characteristics that I had. He brought that out of me, you know. So you need to seek God, and then you need to get a clear understanding of who you are first. Absolutely. And then move on. And then you start dating. They're there. I don't care what no one say about the ratio. They're not all locked up. They're not all. Yeah. It's men out there, good men, good quality men. Yeah. Somebody that you want to bring home to mom and daddy or whoever. I'm telling you, they're there.
That's awesome, Tammy. Thank you so very much for just being open and honest about your life, your story. Your story is going to touch people. I know it is. Like I said, you know, you give me hope for a life after finding love again. So I appreciate you being here today. And so I just want to encourage everyone to like, share, subscribe, to ask other people to watch this episode, because they're going to get so much out of it. So we're just wrapping up here. I am Coach April Elle. You can find me on all social media platforms at Coach April Elle, ELLE. Or you can go to our website at www.aprilL.com, and just be on the lookout for the next episode of Life After the D. Thank you.
Bye.